The graduation grounds were silent, 1,000 crisp uniforms glinting beneath the California sun. It was supposed to be the proudest day of their lives, the culmination of months of pain, blood, and sleepless nights. The young men stood in perfect rows, muscles aching but posture unyielding. Families filled the bleachers, flags rippling gently in the wind, cameras ready to capture history. Then time stopped. A 4-star general, immaculate in his dress blues, halted mid-step at the edge of the reviewing line. His eyes had caught something in the crowd, not the rows of graduates, not the proud mothers holding hand-painted signs, but a man standing quietly at the back, hat pulled low. The general's gaze narrowed. A scar, thick and pale like a rope burn, ran from the man's temple down to his jawline. It wasn't just any scar. It was one he knew. The crowd clapped, oblivious. The general did not move. For a heartbeat too long, his eyes locked with the man's. The scarred father didn't flinch. He just raised his chin ever so slightly as if daring the general to speak. That moment would ripple across lives like a shockwave. But the graduates had no idea, not yet. Among them, standing in the third row, jaw clenched, was Private First Class Ryan Keller. 22 years old, buzz cut too sharp, his heart was pounding not from nerves, but from the weight of what he was about to carry into the world. He hadn't seen his father since he was 12. Didn't even know if he'd be here. But now, in the corner of his vision, he caught the faint outline of a man with a scar. When the general finally moved again, it was mechanical, like a soldier pulling himself back into formation. He strode forward, shook hands, delivered the same boilerplate speech about honor, sacrifice, and the nation's gratitude. But his eyes darted once, twice, back to the man in the crowd. And Ryan noticed. Later, when the ceremony ended and the families rushed the graduates in tears and laughter, Ryan's mother shoved through the crowd, nearly choking him in her embrace. "You did it, baby. You actually did it." Ryan smiled, though exhaustion dragged at him. "Guess I'm a real soldier now." "You're more than that," she whispered fiercely. "You're the best of them." But as she pulled away, he caught sight of the scarred man again, standing a few feet away, watching but not approaching. His chest tightened. He opened his mouth, but the man turned and disappeared into the sea of people before Ryan could speak. That night, while his mother slept in the hotel, Ryan sat alone on the balcony, the Pacific stretching black and endless. He couldn't shake it. Was that his father? After all these years? Why here, why now? And why had the general stared like he'd seen a ghost? He lit a cigarette, though he'd quit months ago. The smoke curled upward, bitter on his tongue. He told himself it didn't matter. He was shipping out in a week, heading into his first real deployment. Afghanistan. The war still chewed men up and spat them out, even if the news back home had moved on. He needed to focus. He needed his head clear. But war didn't wait for clarity. 7 days later, the desert air slammed into him like an oven door. Dust clung to his uniform, found its way into his boots, his eyes, his teeth. The base was a maze of HESCO barriers, sandbags, and men who looked 10 years older than they probably were. The smell of diesel and sweat hung everywhere. "You're the new meat," a corporal barked when Ryan reported in. "Congratulations, Private. Your life belongs to Uncle Sam now. Hope you like sand." Ryan forced a grin. "Love it already." That got a laugh from a few nearby soldiers. One slapped him on the back. "You'll fit in fine, Cherry." But fitting in didn't mean surviving. His squad leader, Staff Sergeant Torres, made that clear the moment Ryan stepped into the briefing tent. Torres was a broad-shouldered man with eyes like granite and a voice that carried even when he whispered. "Listen up, kids. Out here, the enemy's not just guys with AKs. It's the heat, it's the boredom, it's your own damn stupidity. You get sloppy, you get dead. And if you get one of my men killed, I'll personally make sure you don't come home in one piece. Clear?" "Yes, Sergeant," the squad barked. Ryan's throat was dry. He shouted with them, but the words scraped. The first patrol came at dawn. They rolled out in armored Humvees, dust pluming behind them as the village loomed ahead. Children played in the streets, barefoot, waving. Old men sat outside crumbling stone homes, eyes following the soldiers with unreadable expressions. "Keep your head on a swivel," Torres muttered, scanning rooftops. "Friendly faces in the morning, gunfire by noon. Don't trust it." Ryan gripped his rifle tighter. Every shadow looked like it hid an ambush. Every alley whispered danger. He told himself it was just nerves, that the first time always felt like this. Then a soccer ball bounced into the road. A boy chased after it, laughing. Ryan's heart stopped as the child sprinted straight toward their convoy. "Stop!" Ryan yelled, raising a hand. "Stop the kid." The Humvee braked hard. Dust swirled. The boy froze, eyes wide, then darted to grab the ball. That's when Ryan saw it, the glint of metal in the dirt, half buried. "Idy," he screamed. Torres lunged forward, yanking Ryan back just as the blast ripped through the ground. The concussion wave slammed into them, deafening, a flash of fire and shrapnel shredding the air where the child had stood. But the boy wasn't there anymore. Ryan saw him, safe behind a wall, eyes terrified, clutching his ball. Someone had pulled him away, an older man, bearded, who melted into the crowd before Ryan could blink. Smoke filled the air. The squad scrambled, weapons up, hearts pounding. "Who saw that?" Torres barked, coughing. Ryan raised his shaking hand. I did. Someone yanked the kid back. Saved him. But I don't know who." The squad muttered. One soldier spat. "Great. Locals playing both sides again." Torres' gaze cut into Ryan. "Lesson 1, Keller. Nothing is simple out here. That man might have saved the boy, but he also might be planting the next bomb. Don't romanticize it. You hesitate, you die." Ryan swallowed hard. The ringing in his ears wouldn't stop. He glanced again at the wall, but the man was gone. That night, lying on his cot in the suffocating heat, Ryan couldn't sleep. Every time he closed his eyes, he saw the blast, the boy's wide eyes, the faceless man pulling him away. He also saw something else, the scar, pale and jagged, on his father's face. The two images twisted together until he couldn't separate them. His bunkmate, Private Marcus Mac Daniels, rolled over and groaned. "Jesus, Keller, stop tossing around like a damn fish. First day jitters, huh?" Ryan stared at the ceiling. "Yeah, something like that." Mac chuckled. "Don't sweat it. You'll learn fast or you won't learn at all. Either way, problem solved." It was dark humor, the kind soldiers survived on. Ryan almost laughed. Almost. The next patrol was worse. They pushed deeper into the village, hunting for the bomb maker responsible for the IED. Intel said he was former militia, ruthless and always one step ahead. "Name's Samir," Torres briefed. "Smart bastard. Knows our playbook. Don't underestimate him." Ryan's stomach clenched. Samir. The name meant nothing, but the image in his head, the man pulling the boy to safety, wouldn't leave. 2 hours into the mission, gunfire erupted. Bullets cracked overhead, villagers scattered screaming, and Ryan dove behind a wall, heart hammering. The squad returned fire, methodical, trained, while Ryan fought to keep his breathing steady. "Move, Keller." Torres barked. "On me." Adrenaline drowned out fear. Ryan vaulted from cover, sprinting low, firing controlled bursts. A figure darted across the rooftops, rifle slung. Ryan tracked him, squeezed the trigger, missed. The man disappeared. When the firefight ended, 2 militants lay dead, but the bomb maker was still out there. Torres cursed, frustrated. Back at base, Ryan cleaned his rifle in silence, replaying the rooftop figure again and again. Something in the man's gait, the way he carried himself, it didn't fit. It felt practiced, disciplined. Almost military. That night, Ryan couldn't stop himself. He asked Torres quietly, "Sergeant, what happens if the enemy used to be one of us?" Torres looked up sharply. "Why are you asking that?" Ryan hesitated. "No reason. Just wondering." Torres studied him a long moment. "Out here, people switch sides more than they change clothes. You see, a man with training doesn't mean he's one of ours. Means he learned from someone, somewhere. Don't get hung up on it." But Ryan was hung up. Because deep down, in a place he didn't want to admit even to himself, he thought he knew the truth. The scar. The general's stare. His father's absence. What if his father wasn't just a man who'd left? What if he was here, in this desert, playing a game no one else understood? Ryan lay awake until dawn, gripping his rifle like it might answer the questions burning in his chest. The war was just beginning for him. And already, it felt personal. The sun rose red over the Afghan desert, bleeding light across the jagged ridges. Ryan Keller sat on the Humvee's hood, helmet off, sweat already streaking his face though the day had barely begun. He hadn't slept more than an hour, and his eyes felt like sandpaper. Still he was alert. Too alert. Every sound, a goat bleating, a distant engine, the clink of a tool, felt like a warning. Max shuffled out of the tent, yawning, helmet dangling by the straps. "Morning, sunshine. You look like you've been kissed by insomnia herself." Ryan smirked, though it didn't reach his eyes. "Couldn't sleep." "No kidding. You've been tossing like a fish all week." Mac lit a cigarette and took a long drag. "What's eating you?" Ryan hesitated. He couldn't just blurt out, "I think my father is alive in this desert, maybe even working with the enemy." That wasn't the kind of confession you dropped in the middle of deployment. So he shrugged. Just, first missions, you know. Can't shake the images. Mac exhaled smoke, studying him. You'll get used to it, or you'll go numb. Either way, it stops keeping you up at night. Trust me. Ryan wanted to believe that. He really did. But deep down, something gnawed. Not just the firefight, not just the boy in the IED. The scar. The rooftop silhouette. His father's absence echoing louder now than it ever had. Torres barked from across the camp. Gear up. Patrol in 10. They rolled out, the convoy kicking dust like a sandstorm. The village was restless today. Men clustered in corners whispering, women pulling children inside, doors slamming as the Humvees approached. Something's off, Torres muttered into the radio. Stay sharp. They dismounted near a marketplace. The air smelled of spices and sweat, mingling with the metallic tang of fear. Ryan scanned rooftops, alleys, hands trembling just enough for him to notice. He forced them steady. Relax, Mac whispered beside him. Look natural. Define natural. Like you don't expect to get blown up in the next 5 seconds. Ryan almost laughed. Almost. Then came the crack. A single rifle shot. Not close but close enough. The market exploded into chaos. Screams, people scattering, stalls overturning. Contact. Torres roared. Find the shooter. Ryan ducked behind a cart, scanning rooftops. Dust swirled, the sun blinding. Then he saw him. A figure 2 rooftops over, rifle aimed not at them but at the crowd. The man fired again, deliberate, controlled, picking targets. Ryan's training kicked in. He steadied his rifle, exhaled, and squeezed the trigger. The man jerked, staggered, dropped out of sight. Shooter down. Ryan shouted. The squad advanced, securing the area. Ryan's heart pounded, sweat dripping into his eyes. He climbed the stairs to the rooftop, rifle ready. At the top he found blood. A trail. The shooter had been hit but not killed. And then Ryan froze. On the edge of the rooftop, something glinted in the sun. A knife. Not just any knife. An American-issued combat knife, engraved with a faded emblem, an eagle clutching a trident. Navy SEAL issue. Ryan picked it up, hands shaking. Clear? Torres called from below. Ryan swallowed. Clear. He pocketed the knife. Back at base, Torres was livid. That wasn't some half-ass militia punk. That was a trained shooter. The way he moved, the way he picked targets? He wasn't trying to scare us. He was testing us. Measuring us. The squad muttered in agreement. Mac leaned close to Ryan later, whispering, You got the shot. Not bad for a cherry. Ryan forced a grin. Lucky. But inside his chest felt like stone. He kept fingering the knife hidden in his pocket. The weight of it was unbearable. That night he finally snapped. He slipped out of the tent, found the satellite phone, and called the only number that mattered, his mother's. She answered groggy. Ryan? It's 3 a.m. here. Are you okay? Are you hurt? No, Mom. I'm fine. I need to ask you something. His voice cracked despite him. Why did Dad leave? Silence. Only static hummed between them. Then slowly she said, Ryan, this isn't the time. It is the time. I need to know. Was he military? Was he? Ryan's throat closed. Was he special forces? Her breath caught. That told him everything. Mom, he whispered, he's here. I think he's here. No, she said quickly, too quickly. That's impossible. He died years ago. That's what I was told. By who? Her silence was answer enough. Ryan slammed the phone down, chest heaving. The knife burned in his pocket. The next day Torres called a briefing. Intel suggested Samir, the bomb maker, was planning something big. A convoy of supplies had gone missing on the road south. Word was he had inside help. We're cutting him off before he sets up shop again, Torres said, stabbing a finger at the map. We go in hard, we go in fast. Questions? Ryan's voice was dry when he asked, What if Samir isn't who we think he is? Torres frowned. What the hell does that mean? Just, what if he's not a local at all? What if he's someone with training? Someone American. The squad went dead silent. Max snorted nervously. Jesus, Keller been reading too many conspiracy blogs? But Torres' eyes sharpened. Why are you asking that, Private? Ryan hesitated. His hand brushed the knife in his pocket. He couldn't show it, not yet. Couldn't say the words out loud. So he shook his head. Forget it, Sergeant. Torres studied him for a long, tense moment, then moved on. But the suspicion lingered. The mission came at night. They loaded into Humvees and VGs on, the desert stretching endless under a sky heavy with stars. The silence was suffocating, broken only by the hum of engines. Ryan's chest tightened as they neared the target compound. His palms were slick. He couldn't shake the feeling that they weren't just hunting Samir. They were walking into something bigger. The first shots erupted as they breached the outer wall. Tracers lit the night, men shouting in Dari and English alike. The firefight was brutal, chaotic. Ryan fired until his rifle clicked empty, reloaded, kept firing. Then he saw him. On the far side of the courtyard, through the haze of gunfire and smoke, a figure moved with lethal precision. Not like the panicked militants. Calm, efficient. A ghost in the chaos. And when the man turned, just for a second, the moonlight caught his face. The scar. Ryan froze. The world tilted. Move, Keller. Torres bellowed. Ryan snapped out of it, ducking as bullets cracked past. But his heart was no longer in the fight. His eyes tracked the scarred man, who slipped through a doorway and vanished into the compound's shadows. Ryan followed. Inside, the air was thick with dust and smoke. Shouts echoed through the halls. Ryan crept forward, rifle raised, every nerve screaming. He turned a corner, and there he was. The man turned, rifle slung across his chest, eyes narrowing. Older now, beard streaked with gray but unmistakable. "Dad," Ryan whispered. For a moment, silence. Then the man spoke, voice low, rough. "You shouldn't be here, son." Ryan's hands shook so badly the rifle wavered. What the hell are you doing? Are you Samir?" The man almost smiled, but it was bitter. "Names don't matter out here. Only sides. And sometimes, there are no sides worth fighting for." Ryan's chest tightened. "You're working with them. You're the enemy." "No," his father said quietly. "I'm trying to end this. But not the way they taught you. Not the way the generals want." Footsteps thundered closer. Torres' voice echoed. "Keller. Where the hell are you?" Ryan's father stepped back into the shadows. "You have a choice to make, son. You follow me or you stay with them. But if you tell them you saw me, it won't just be my life. It'll be yours too." Then he was gone. Like a ghost. Torres rounded the corner, rifle up. "Keller. Report." Ryan's mouth was dry. He could still smell the dust, still hear his father's voice. His heart pounded. "Clear," he said finally. "Nothing here." Torres eyed him, suspicion hardening. "Stay on my damn hip from now on." The firefight died down within the hour. The squad secured the compound, but Samir slipped through their fingers again. Torres was furious. Ryan said nothing. His father's words echoed louder than the gunfire had. "You have a choice to make, son." That night, as the squad regrouped, Torres announced, "We've got leaks in our intel. Someone's feeding the enemy. Until we find out who, nobody's above suspicion." Ryan felt every eye flicker toward him, if only for a second. He looked down, hands clenched, the knife heavy in his pocket. Mac nudged him later, half joking, half serious. "You didn't go AWOL in there, did you?" "Had me worried for a second." Ryan forced a smile. "Never." But inside, his world was splitting. His loyalty to his squad. His duty to the army. And the blood that tied him to the man with the scar. Sleep didn't come that night. Only the choice, gnawing, impossible. And the war was far from done with him. The desert didn't sleep, but the base tried to. At night the sand turned cold, wind moaned through HESCO barriers, and men pulled their ponchos tight, pretending they weren't still listening for mortars. Ryan Keller lay awake on his cot, boots still on, staring at the canvas roof above. Every shadow seemed to breathe. He heard his father's voice over and over. "You have a choice to make, son." The words burned hotter than the firefights, louder than Torres' orders, heavier than the rifle across his chest. He rolled onto his side. Mac was snoring, boots half off, one arm dangling off the cot like a drunk. The guy could sleep through a bombing. Ryan envied him. Sleep wouldn't come. Not now. Not when he knew his father was out there, alive, moving like a ghost between worlds. He sat up, quietly pulled the knife from his pocket, the seal blade he'd found on the rooftop. He turned it in his hands, the metal catching the dim light. It was proof. Proof his father wasn't dead. Proof he wasn't just imagining things. But it was also proof of betrayal. If Torres found out, if command found out, Ryan wasn't sure what would happen. Court-martial? Black site? Worse. The army didn't forgive ghosts who came back in enemy colors. He shoved the knife back into his pocket and forced himself to lie down. But he knew he wouldn't sleep tonight. The next morning, Torres had them up before dawn. His mood was darker than usual, jaw tight, eyes bloodshot. He gathered the squad around a dusty table inside the operations tent. Listen up. Command thinks Samir's got a mole feeding him movement details. That convoy he hit last week? Too perfect an ambush. Someone's talking. Murmurs rippled through the squad. Mac leaned toward Ryan, whispering, "Told you. Someone's ratting us out." Torres silenced them with a glare. "From now on we lock it down. No phone calls, no messages out, no unsupervised movement. You don't take a piss without me knowing about it. Clear?" "Yes, Sergeant," the squad barked. Ryan's stomach twisted. No phone calls. He thought about his mother, the last shaky conversation. About how Torres' eyes had lingered on him last night. About the knife still hidden in his gear. He forced himself to nod with the others. Their patrol took them south that day, deeper into territory the locals called the graveyard. Villages half abandoned, burned-out trucks rusting in the sand, silence pressing so heavy it hurt. "Place looks like a horror movie," Mac muttered, scanning the horizon. "Where's the creepy violin music?" "Shut it, Daniels," Torres snapped. Ryan kept his eyes sharp. Every ridge could hide a rifle. Every pothole could be a bomb. His heart hammered, but his hands were steady this time. They reached a compound by midday, mud walls, a broken gate, goats wandering freely. A handful of men stood outside, rifles slung casually. Not hostile, not friendly. Watching. Always watching. Torres dismounted first. "Stay frosty." Ryan followed, boots crunching in the dirt. One of the men, a tall one with a gray beard, stepped forward. He raised a hand, palm open, the universal sign of peace. Torres muttered to their interpreter, "Ask if they've seen Samir." The bearded man answered in a low rumble, eyes flicking to Ryan for just a second too long. The interpreter translated. "He says no Samir here. Only farmers." "Farmers with AKs," Mac whispered. Torres ignored him. "Tell him we're coming inside." The man's jaw tightened. He said something sharp. The interpreter hesitated. "What did he say?" Torres pressed. He says if you go inside blood will be spilled." Torres didn't blink. "We're going in." They moved fast. Breach team at the door, rifles up. Ryan's pulse thundered. The gate splintered with a kick. They poured in. The first shot came from the second floor. A burst tore through the doorway, chipping mud and stone. Contact. The courtyard erupted, gunfire, shouting, chaos. Ryan ducked behind a wall, firing upward. Bullets pinged off stone, dust choking the air. He heard Mac cursing beside him, yelling, "Where the hell are they?" A figure darted across the second-floor balcony. Ryan aimed, then froze. The scar. His father. For a split second their eyes locked. Recognition. Then his father disappeared back into the shadows. Ryan's throat closed. "Keller!" Torres shouted. Suppressing fire. Ryan forced himself to fire, but his shots went wide, deliberate misses. Sweat burned his eyes. He couldn't pull the trigger. Not on him. The firefight dragged, brutal and messy. When it was over, 3 militants lay dead, but others had escaped through tunnels beneath the compound. Torres kicked a wall, furious. "God damn it. He was here." "I know it." Ryan kept silent. His hands shook. He could still see the scar in his mind, burned there like a brand. Back at base, Torres cornered him. "You hesitated in there, Keller?" Ryan's heart stuttered. "No, Sergeant. I fired." Don't bullshit me. I saw it. You had a clean shot and you didn't take it. You freeze up like that again and you'll get someone killed." Ryan swallowed hard. "Yes, Sergeant." Torres studied him for a long moment, eyes narrowing. "I don't know what's eating at you, Keller. But get your head on straight. Out here, hesitation is death." When Torres left, Mac elbowed him lightly. "He's right, you know. You looked like you saw a ghost." Ryan almost laughed at the irony. Almost. That night, Ryan couldn't take it anymore. He slipped out of camp, moving quietly, rifle slung, knife in his pocket. The desert stretched endless, stars so bright they felt close enough to touch. He walked until the base was aglow behind him, until silence swallowed him whole. Then he stopped. "I know you're out here," he said into the night. For a long time, nothing. Then a voice, "You're too loud, son." His father stepped from the shadows, rifle slung, eyes sharp even in the dark. He looked older up close, the scar deeper, but his presence was still commanding. Ryan's throat tightened. "What? Why are you here? Why are you?" His voice broke. "Why are you the enemy?" His father didn't flinch. "Enemy's just a word. Depends on which side of the line you're standing on." Ryan shook his head. "You left us. You left Mom. You left me. I had to, his father said quietly. Things I saw, things I was ordered to do. I couldn't stay. And when I tried to fix it, to stop it, they marked me. Made me the ghost. So I disappeared. Ryan's chest burned. You're working with Samir. You're killing Americans. His father's eyes hardened. I'm trying to stop something worse. The generals don't care about you, Ryan. You're a pawn. All of you. They'll chew you up and spit you out for a headline back home. Ryan's hands trembled on his rifle. He wanted to scream, to demand answers, to pull the trigger just to end the torment. But he couldn't. His father stepped closer. You don't have to be their pawn. You're my son. You can see the truth. Join me. Ryan's chest heaved. His world tilted. In the distance, a flare shot into the sky, red bright. Base alarm. His father glanced at it, then back to him. They'll come looking. You don't have much time. Think about it. Then he was gone, swallowed by the desert. Ryan stood alone, rifle heavy, the flare still burning overhead. By the time he got back, Torres was waiting. Arms crossed, jaw clenched. Where the hell were you, Keller? Ryan froze. I couldn't sleep. Just needed some air. Torres stepped close, eyes boring into him. You disappear in the middle of an alarm, you put this whole squad at risk. Don't do it again. Yes, Sergeant. Torres didn't move. He just studied Ryan like he was a puzzle missing half its pieces. Finally he said, You keep acting strange, Keller. I'll find out why. And when I do, God help you. Ryan nodded, heart pounding. He lay awake that night, the knife clutched in his hand, his father's words in his head. Join me. The war outside raged. But inside Ryan, a different war had already begun. And there was no way both sides would win. The morning after the flare, the camp buzzed like a hornet's nest. Soldiers moved faster, radios crackled non-stop, and commanders barked orders with clipped urgency. Something big was coming. Everyone felt it. Ryan Keller sat on an ammo crate, helmet on his knee, trying to steady his hands. Mac dropped beside him, balancing a steaming mug of instant coffee. Looks like the brass finally pulled their heads out, Mac muttered. Whole base is wound tighter than my ex-wife's lawyer. Ryan forced a half smile. You were married? Twice. Both mistakes. First one ran off with a dentist. Second one with my cousin. Guess she wanted someone with better teeth and worse morals. Mac sipped the coffee like it was whiskey. Moral of the story? Don't get married while you're in uniform. Or at all. Ryan almost laughed. The humor felt jagged, like it didn't belong, but it was better than the silence screaming in his head. Torres approached, face grim. Gear up. Command wants us on a recon op South Ridge. Mac groaned. South Ridge? That's the fun zone. Nothing says good morning like IED Alley. Torres' eyes cut to him. Shut it, Daniels. We're rolling in 10. The convoy rumbled across the desert, the heat shimmering like waves off the sand. Ryan gripped his rifle tight, eyes scanning the horizon. Every dip in the road looked suspicious. Every glint in the dirt looked like a trigger wire. Relax, Mac said, chewing sunflower seeds like they were armor. You look like a cat in a room full of rocking chairs. Ryan didn't answer. He couldn't. His mind replayed his father's face in the moonlight, the offer he'd made, the flare lighting the sky. The Humvee jolted hard. Everyone tensed. But it was just a pothole. Christ, Mac muttered, spitting a seed into a bottle. If I don't die from Taliban, I'm gonna die from ulcers. They reached the ridge by midday. A sweep with drones revealed a cluster of caves carved into the rock. Too neat. Too deliberate. Torres studied the feed. This is it. Samir's stockpiling. Maybe even hiding himself. The squad dismounted. The sun was brutal, cooking them inside their armor. They moved in 2 teams, rifles up, every footstep measured. Ryan's skin prickled. His instinct screamed. He knew something was wrong before it happened. The first shot cracked from the cave mouth. Then another. Then chaos. Contact. Caves. Suppressing fire. Bullets tore the sand. The squad dove behind rocks, returning fire. Dust exploded around them, visibility dropping to nothing. Flank left. Torres bellowed. Ryan and Mac sprinted low, hugging the ridge. Ryan's heart hammered. He fired bursts into the shadows, but the militants fought hard, disciplined. Not panicked rabble. One emerged from the cave, sprinting across open ground. Ryan raised his rifle, finger on the trigger. And froze. The man turned just enough for Ryan to see his face. His father. The scar. Time slowed. His father raised his own rifle, but didn't fire. Just stared. Take the shot. Torres shouted from somewhere behind. Keller, shoot. Ryan's chest locked. His finger hovered. He couldn't breathe. Mac fired instead. Bullets kicked up dirt at the man's feet. He darted back into the cave, gone like smoke. Torres stormed over, grabbing Ryan's vest, slamming him against the rock. What the hell was that? He was wide open. Ryan stammered, I lost sight. Bullshit. You froze. Again. Torres' eyes burned into him. You do that one more time, Keller, and you're done. You hear me? Done. Yes, Sergeant. Torres shoved him away, turning back to the fight. The battle dragged another 30 minutes before the caves fell silent. The squad breached cautiously, finding only blood trails and abandoned weapons. Whoever was inside had slipped away through tunnels. Again. Torres cursed so loud it echoed. Mac leaned against a rock, panting. Well, that was a steaming pile of fun. He glanced at Ryan. But seriously, man. What the hell happened back there? You had him. Ryan's throat felt raw. Dust in my sights. Mac's eyes narrowed. You sure? Ryan forced a nod. Mac didn't press, but his suspicion lingered. Back at base, the debrief was brutal. Torres ripped into the squad, but especially Ryan. You're green, Keller. I get it. But green doesn't cut it out here. Green gets people killed. You freeze again and I'll personally put you on the next bird home in cuffs. Ryan swallowed hard. Yes, Sergeant. Torres slammed his fist on the table. Don't yes, Sergeant me. Fix it. Or you're a liability. The squad filed out in silence. Mac lingered, giving Ryan a long look before muttering, Get your head straight, man. Whatever's in there messing with you, it's gonna bury you. Ryan couldn't respond. He just walked away, the weight of the knife burning in his pocket. That night the base took fire. Mortars whistled through the air, exploding inside the perimeter. Sirens wailed, soldiers scrambled, dust and smoke filled the sky. Ryan dove into a bunker with Mac, ears ringing. Jesus Christ. Mac shouted. They're walking shells right onto us. The blast shook the ground one after another. Then silence. Counter batteries got M, a voice said over the radio. Ryan's heart pounded. Mortar attacks weren't rare, but this one felt different. Too precise. Too accurate. Like someone had handed the enemy a map. He thought of Torres' words. Mo. And for the first time, Ryan wondered if his father was right. The next day, Torres pulled him aside. You've been acting strange since we got boots down. Disappearing at night. Hesitating in fights. You hiding something, Keller? Ryan's chest locked. No, Sergeant. Torres leaned close, voice low. Don't lie to me. I've buried too many men because of lies. If there's something I need to know, you say it. Now. Ryan's mind raced. If he told the truth, that his father was alive, tied to Samir, maybe even leading him, Torres would lock him up, maybe worse. If he lied, Torres' suspicion would only deepen. I'm fine, Ryan said finally. Just adjusting. Torres studied him a long moment, then stepped back. You get one more chance, Keller. Blow it and I'll bury you myself. That evening, Ryan sat alone on the sandbags, staring at the horizon. Mac joined him, tossing a rock into the dirt. You ever think about what happens when we go home? Mac asked. Ryan snorted. If we go home. Mac chuckled darkly. Yeah. I picture it sometimes. Cold beer. Baseball on TV. A bed without sand in it. Hell, even traffic sounds good after this. Ryan stared at the horizon. I can't picture home anymore. Mac gave him a look. You better start. Or this place will eat you alive. Ryan didn't answer. Because in his head he saw two homes. The army, his squad, his duty. And his father's shadow, pulling him toward something darker. He wasn't sure which one was real anymore. 2 days later, the squad was sent back to the ridge for a follow-up sweep. Drones had spotted fresh movement near the caves. As they approached, Ryan's skin prickled again. The ambush hit like a hammer. RPGs streaked down, Humvees exploding, soldiers scattering. Bullets tore through the air, deafening. Ryan dove behind a boulder, firing blind. Mac hit the dirt beside him, cursing. This is bad. This is real bad. Torres' voice roared over the chaos. Hold your ground. Return fire. Ryan's heart pounded. He caught movement through the smoke. Figures advancing, disciplined, coordinated. And in the center, directing them with hand signals, was his father. For a second, Ryan couldn't move. Couldn't breathe. Then his father looked straight at him across the battlefield. And raised a hand. Not in a threat. In a signal. A choice. Ryan's rifle trembled. Keller. Torres shouted. Flank right. Ryan's chest heaved. Two voices screamed in his head. His sergeant, his father. Both demanding loyalty. Both demanding blood. And he knew in that instant whatever choice he made would change everything. The war wasn't just around him anymore. It was inside him. The ridge was hell. Smoke, fire, and the scream of ricocheting metal filled the air. The ground shook as another RPG slammed into a Humvee, flipping it onto its side like a toy. Men shouted, bullets zipped past Ryan Keller's ears, and still he froze, rifle up, sights trained across the battlefield. On his father. The scar caught the light, a pale streak through the chaos. The older man moved with deliberate precision, rallying fighters with hand signals that looked more military than militant. He wasn't spraying bullets like the others, he was orchestrating the whole thing. And then his father's eyes found him. Again. The hand rose. A signal, sharp, unmistakable. Come. Ryan's chest locked. His rifle trembled in his grip. Torres barked from somewhere behind him, voice shredded by rage and smoke. Keller! Move your ass. Flank right. Now. Two voices. Two orders. Two loyalties. Ryan's legs moved before his mind could catch up. He sprinted right, not toward Torres, not toward the squad, but toward the fissure in the ridge where his father had disappeared. Bullets kicked up dirt at his heels. Max screamed his name, raw and furious. But Ryan didn't stop. He ducked through the smoke, vaulted a low wall, and followed the shadow into the caves. The cave swallowed him whole. The air was cooler, damp, smelling of earth and cordite. The gunfire outside muffled like thunder in another world. Ryan's lungs burned as he moved deeper, rifle up, heart trying to pound its way out of his chest. A figure waited ahead, backlit by the faint glow of lanterns. The scar was unmistakable. You came, his father said, voice low, almost calm. Ryan's throat was dry. What the hell are you doing? They're my squad out there. They're, his voice cracked. They're my brothers. His father's eyes softened. And I'm your blood. Ryan's grip tightened on the rifle. You're fighting for them. For the people who want us dead. No, his father said firmly. I'm fighting against the people who sent you here. You think those men outside, Torres, Daniels, the rest, you think they matter to the generals? To Washington? No. They're pieces on a board. And when the board changes, they'll be swept away. Like me. Ryan shook his head violently. You're lying. Am I? His father's voice rose just slightly. Think about it. The missions that don't add up. The intel that always leaks. The mortars that land too perfect. Someone wants this war to keep burning. And I'm the only one trying to put it out. Ryan's stomach twisted. He wanted to scream that it wasn't true, that his squad mattered, that his service mattered. But the doubt had already rooted deep. Outside the battle raged. Torres' voice bellowed, muffled but still furious. Keller. Where the hell are you? His father stepped closer. This is your chance, Ryan. You can't save them. Not this time. But you can. Save yourself. You can fight for something bigger than a flag. Ryan raised his rifle, aiming squarely at the scarred man's chest. His hand shook so hard the sight wavered. Give me one reason, Ryan rasped, why I shouldn't kill you right now. His father didn't flinch. Because if you pull that trigger, you'll never know the truth about who really gave the order that put you here. About why I left. About why you were always meant to find me. The words tore through Ryan like shrapnel. For a moment he wanted to fire. And it silenced the confusion. Prove his loyalty. But outside, another explosion rocked the ridge. The cave ceiling trembled. Dust fell. And Ryan's finger refused to squeeze. Ryan. Mac's voice ripped through the cave mouth. Boots clattered on stone. Jesus Christ, what the hell are you doing? Ryan spun, rifle still raised. Mac stood silhouetted by the smoke outside, chest heaving, rifle at the ready. His eyes flicked from Ryan to the scarred man, then back. No, Mac whispered. No, no, no. Tell me that's not who I think it is. Ryan's voice cracked. It's him. My dad. Mac's jaw dropped. Your dad? Keller, your dad's dead. You told me? I thought he was. Mac's face twisted. He's Samir? The guy killing our guys? Planting bombs? That's your father? The scarred man didn't deny it. He just met Mac's glare calmly. Names don't matter. What matters is survival. And your government doesn't care if you live or die. Mac's voice shook with fury. You shut the hell up. He turned to Ryan. We're leaving. Now. Before Torres skins both of us alive. Ryan's stomach lurched. Mac didn't understand. He didn't feel the pull. The blood. I can't, Ryan whispered. Mac's face hardened. What do you mean you can't? I need answers. He has them. Answers. Mac barked. Ryan, this son of a bitch killed our guys. Our friends. You want to trade Torres and the squad for him? For some bedtime story about the big bad generals? Jesus Christ, man, wake the hell up. Ryan's rifle shook in his hands. He looked at Mac, then at his father, then back. His chest felt like it was splitting open. His father's voice cut through, calm but commanding. Choose. Mac's voice followed, raw and desperate. Choose right now, Ryan. You're either with us or you're gone. The cave held its breath. The gunfire outside faded, just for a moment, as if the whole war waited for Ryan Keller's answer. And Ryan knew, whatever he chose, there was no going back. He lowered his rifle. Mac's eyes widened, betrayal flashing raw and sharp. Oh Jesus. No. No, no, no. I need to know the truth, Ryan said, voice shaking. I can't walk away. Not yet. Mac stepped back, horrified. You're choosing him? Over us. Ryan's throat burned. I'm sorry. Mac's rifle wavered between Ryan and his father. His chest heaved like he was drowning. You know what Torres is going to do when he finds out? He'll put a bullet in your skull himself. Then he'll have to, Ryan whispered. Mac shook his head, eyes wet, then turned and bolted toward the cave mouth. Stop him. Ryan's father barked. Ryan raised his rifle instinctively, then froze. Mac's back was to him, scrambling toward the light, toward the squad. His best friend. His brother. Ryan couldn't do it. Dad, no, Ryan gasped. His father's eyes narrowed. If he tells them you're finished, both of us are. I can't. Ryan shouted. His father cursed under his breath, then sprinted past him. A flash of steel in his hand. Ryan's chest seized. No. He lunged, grabbing his father's arm mid-swing. The knife clattered to the ground. Mac stumbled into the daylight, gone. The two men grappled, raw strength against blood ties. Ryan's father snarled, You don't understand what you've just done. Ryan's chest heaved. I understand enough. He's my brother. For the first time, the scarred man looked shaken. But not defeated. He yanked free, grabbed the knife, and backed deeper into the cave. This isn't over, son. The war hasn't even started. Then he vanished into the tunnels, leaving Ryan gasping in the dark. By the time Ryan stumbled out of the cave, the firefight was nearly over. The squad had pushed the militants back, the ridge littered with bodies. Smoke curled into the sky. Torres spotted him instantly. Keller. He stormed over, fury in every step. Where the hell were you? Ryan's chest still heaved. His hands were empty. I got separated. Chasing one of them. Lost him in the caves. Bullshit. Mac's voice cut through, raw and trembling. He was pale, eyes wide with fury and betrayal. He pointed at Ryan. He wasn't chasing one of them. He was with him. With Samir. Talking to him. Like he knew him. The squad went dead silent. Every eye turned. Torres' face darkened like a storm. Is that true, Keller? Ryan's mouth went dry. His father's words echoed. If you tell them you saw me, it won't just be my life. It'll be yours too. He met Torres' burning gaze. Met Mac's betrayed one. And lied. No, Sergeant. He's wrong. I was chasing one of them, but I lost him. Max confused. Shock. Mac's jaw dropped. Don't you dare. Enough. Torres barked. His eyes flicked between the two, suspicion deepening. We'll settle this back at base. Until then, both of you stay on my hip. One wrong move, and I swear to God I'll put you down myself. Ryan's chest burned. Mac's glare cut into him like knives. The squad regrouped, limping back to the Humvees. The ridge smoldered behind them. Ryan sat in silence, the engine rumbling beneath him, the weight of what he'd done pressing like stone on his chest. He'd chosen. And now both sides knew it. The war had just become personal. The convoy ride back from the ridge was silent, except for the grinding of gears and the low drone of the engine. Every man was lost in his own thoughts, and Ryan felt every second stretch like a noose tightening. He sat wedged between Mac and another private, sweat rolling down his back even though the desert night was cool. Mac didn't look at him. Not once. His jaw was clenched, fists tight in his lap, eyes fixed on the horizon as though he could burn a hole through it. Torres sat across from them, his stare unblinking, locked on Ryan the entire ride. It wasn't rage anymore. Rage he could handle. This was worse. It was cold calculation, the look of a man measuring whether one of his soldiers was about to become a liability, or already was. When they rolled through the wire back at base, the relief that usually came with seeing the guard towers and the glow of floodlights never touched Ryan. He felt heavier, his lie hanging on him like extra gear he couldn't shrug off. "Squad, debrief in 10, Torres barked as they climbed down from the Humvees. "And Keller, don't wander. You breathe without my permission, I'll notice." Ryan nodded, throat too dry for words. Mac finally looked at him then. Just once. Not with anger. With disgust. The debrief was brutal. Torres paced at the front of the dim tent, eyes flicking between Ryan and Mac like a predator choosing which one to strike first. The other soldiers sat stiff-backed, some battered from the fight, all silent. "Two of you have stories that don't match," Torres said finally. "One says Keller ran into the caves, chasing an enemy, got lost. The other says Keller was standing there, talking to Samir like they were old friends." He slammed his palm down on the table, making everyone flinch. "So which is it? Somebody better start talking because I don't tolerate lies in my squad." Mac shot to his feet. "With respect, Sergeant, Keller's lying. I saw it with my own eyes. Samir wasn't just some random fighter, he knew him. Called him by name. And Keller didn't fire. He just stood there." The tent buzzed with mutters. A couple of guys glanced at Ryan, unease flashing in their eyes. Ryan rose slowly, forcing his voice steady. "That's not true. He's wrong. I chased one of them in. I lost him." Mac was panicked, he saw shadows, smoke. "Panicked?" Mac snapped. "You son of a bitch." "Enough." Torres roared. The tent went dead quiet. He stalked up to Ryan, nose almost touching his. "Keller, you freeze on me again, I'll assume it's treason, not nerves. You understand?" Ryan's voice was barely a whisper. "Yes, Sergeant." Torres pivoted to Mac. "And you, don't throw accusations unless you can back them with proof. You understand?" Mac's fists trembled at his sides. "Yes, Sergeant." Torres let the silence linger, heavy as stone. Then he growled, "Both of you are on my leash from now on. Where I go you go. If one of you so much as scratches his ass, the other better know about it. Clear?" "Yes, Sergeant," they said together. But the venom in Mac's tone made it clear. This wasn't over. Later, back in the barracks, the squad tried to shake off the day the way soldiers always did. Jokes, poker, bad coffee. But Ryan felt the air shift around him. Conversation stopped when he walked by. Laughter died quicker. Trust, once invisible, was suddenly a wall he couldn't climb. He sat on his bunk, stripping and cleaning his rifle out of habit, but his hands moved slow. His thoughts were louder than the clink of metal. Mac sat across the room, playing cards half-heartedly with two others. He kept glancing up at Ryan. Every look was a blade. Finally, Mac stood and came over, leaning close enough that only Ryan could hear. "You know what you did, Keller. You know who you protected. And I swear to God, if Torres doesn't find out, I'll make damn sure Command does." Ryan met his eyes, jaw tight. "You'd put a bullet in me yourself if you could, wouldn't you?" Mac's lip curled. "Don't tempt me." He turned and walked away. Ryan sat frozen, hands trembling around the rifle barrel. The next day, Torres kept true to his word. Ryan and Mac were glued to his hip, every patrol, every sweep, every briefing. It was suffocating but also the only thing keeping Ryan alive. Torres wasn't stupid. He smelled something rotten but he hadn't figured out the source yet. During a perimeter sweep that evening, Mac muttered under his breath, "You know what's funny? I used to think you were one of the good ones. Quiet, yeah, but solid. Now I can't tell if you're gonna watch my back or stab it." Ryan gritted his teeth. "I never." "Don't." Mac cut him off. "Don't say you never would. Because you already did. Maybe not with a knife. But you chose. And it wasn't us." Torres snapped at them from ahead. "Shut the chatter." Eyes open. They obeyed. But Ryan's stomach churned. Mac wasn't wrong. That night, Ryan couldn't sleep. The barracks was quiet, the hum of generators in the distance. He lay staring at the ceiling, thoughts gnawing him raw. He slipped outside, sitting on the sandbags at the edge of camp, the desert stretching infinite and dark. The voice startled him. "You look like a man with ghosts." Ryan spun. Torres stood there, cigarette glowing faintly in the dark. Ryan straightened. "Couldn't sleep, Sergeant." Torres took a drag, exhaled smoke. "War does that. Gets in your bones. Some men drown in it. Some men use it. Guess we'll see which one you are." Ryan swallowed. "Sergeant, if there were things happening out here, things that didn't make sense, would you trust Command to fix it?" Torres studied him through the smoke. "Command doesn't fix shit. They cover it up. Always have." Ryan's chest tightened. "So what do we do?" Torres flicked the cigarette butt into the sand. We take care of our own. Squad first. Always. You forget that you don't belong here. He walked away, leaving Ryan alone with the words echoing like judgment. Squad first. Always. But what if his squad was built on lies? 2 nights later, the mole showed his hand. The squad was sent on another sweep, this time east, through a wadi that twisted like a scar across the desert. It should have been routine. But an hour in, the first IED went off, flipping the lead Humvee in a fireball. Contact. Ambush. Torres roared. Bullets rained from both ridges, the squad pinned in the kill zone. Soldiers scrambled for cover, returning fire, shouting over the chaos. Ryan dove behind a boulder, heart hammering. This was too clean. Too perfect. The enemy knew their route, their timing, everything. Torres crawled over, teeth bared. God damn it, we've been burned. Somebody's feeding them our playbook. Ryan's blood went cold. He thought of his father's words. The intel that always leaks. The mortars that land too perfect. Was Torres right? Was there someone inside command feeding their enemy? Or was it, no? He refused to finish the thought. Mac fired wildly over the rock, shouting, "They knew we were coming. They knew it." His eyes flicked to Ryan just for a second, suspicion sharper than the bullets. Ryan fired back at shadows on the ridge, throat raw. But doubt gnawed him. The ambush raged for what felt like hours before air support finally screamed overhead, strafing the ridges and scattering the attackers. Silence fell, broken only by groans of the wounded. The squad regrouped, battered, bloody, 3 men down. Torres stood in the center, chest heaving, face hard as granite. This was no accident. Somebody sold us out. His eyes scanned the squad, lingering on Ryan, then Mac. And I'm gonna find out who. Ryan felt the noose tighten. Mac's glare said it all, I already know. Back at base, Torres stormed into command with a report, demanding an investigation. But Ryan knew how that would go. His father had been right about one thing, command didn't fix things. They buried them. That night, Ryan lay awake, the barracks too quiet, every shadow whispering betrayal. He clutched the knife his father had given him, the steel cold in his palm. He was trapped. If he told Torres the truth, he'd be branded a traitor. If he kept silent, Mac would bury him. Either way, the squad he'd sworn to protect was unraveling. And out there, in the desert night, his father was waiting. Ryan didn't know who he was anymore, a soldier, a son, or something broken in between. But he knew one thing. The next choice he made would either save them all, or damn him forever. The desert night was ink black, a sheet of silence broken only by the occasional cough of a generator and the crunch of boots on gravel. Ryan Keller sat alone on the sandbags, helmet resting beside him, rifle across his lap. His knuckles were white on the grip. He hadn't slept in 3 nights. Not since the ambush in the wadi. Mac wouldn't speak to him. Torres watched him like a hawk, every glance sharp enough to cut. The rest of the squad treated him like he was contagious. Ryan could feel it, he was already halfway gone and everyone knew it. In his pocket, the knife his father had given him burned like it had a pulse of its own. The sound of boots approached. Torres dropped down beside him, not asking permission. He lit a cigarette, the ember flaring in the dark. "You look like hell," Torres said. Ryan didn't answer. "You know what I don't get, Keller?" Torres exhaled smoke. "You're a decent shot. Smart. You don't rattle easy. You could have been solid. But every time the shit hits the fan you disappear. You freeze. Or you show up where you shouldn't. Makes me wonder." Ryan's heart thudded. "Wonder what, Sergeant?" Torres flicked ash. "Whether you're unlucky, or dirty." Ryan's throat closed. "I'm not dirty." Torres studied him through the smoke, eyes hard. "Prove it." "How?" "Next time we hit the field you don't flinch. You put down whoever's in front of you. No hesitation. If it's Samir you kill him. If it's a civilian you hold fire. That's the job. No excuses." Torres leaned closer. "And if I so much as catch a whiff that you're protecting him, I'll put you in the ground myself. Clear?" Ryan forced a nod. "Clear." Torres stood, crushing the cigarette under his boot. "Good. You get one last chance. Don't waste it." He walked away, leaving Ryan shaking under the weight of it. One last chance. It came the next morning. The squad was jolted awake before dawn. Torres barked them into gear. A drone feed had picked up movement near the southern hills. Caches, maybe fighters regrouping. Ryan's chest tightened. Southern hills. The same direction his father had vanished days before. They loaded into Humvees and rolled out, the rising sun painting the desert blood red. The air was tense. Even Mac stayed quiet, eyes forward, rifle in his lap. Ryan couldn't shake the feeling that the desert itself was holding its breath. The hills rose ahead, jagged teeth of stone and shadow. Dismount. Advance on foot. Torres moved, point Mac at his side. Ryan was 2 men back, every step heavier. The silence of the hills pressed around them. No gunfire. No voices. Just the scrape of boots on rock. Then Torres raised his fist. Halt. Up ahead, carved into the slope, was the mouth of a cave. Lanterns flickered inside. Ryan's chest seized. Torres signaled the breach team forward. Mac moved left, another private right. Ryan's boots felt like lead. Torres whispered, "On my mark." They stacked. 3, 2, 1. The squad stormed the cave. Gunfire exploded instantly. Shadows darted deeper, returning fire, muzzle flashes strobing the walls. The squad pressed forward, shouting, firing. Ryan's ears rang. His vision tunneled. His father's voice in his head, "You can't save them. Not this time." And then, through the chaos, he saw him. The scar. His father stood in the back of the cave, rifle in hand, eyes locked on Ryan. Everything slowed. Torres roared, "Samir! Light him up." The squad's rifles swung toward the scarred man. Ryan's body moved before his brain did. "No!" he shouted, throwing himself between them. Bullets sparked against stone. Torres cursed, shoving Ryan aside. "God damn it, Keller, what the hell are you doing?" Ryan's father didn't fire. He just stood there, eyes burning. "Stop." Ryan shouted again, voice raw. He's not who you think." Mac's face twisted with fury. "Are you out of your goddamn mind? That's him, Keller. That's Samir. That's the bastard who's been killing us." Ryan's rifle wavered between his squad and his father. His chest heaved. Torres bared his teeth. "Last chance, Keller. Prove it." The cave trembled with the weight of the choice. Ryan's father raised his voice, carrying over the chaos. "They'll never trust you, son. Not after this. You already know where you belong. With me." Mac's voice cut through, raw and desperate. "Don't do it, Ryan. Don't throw us away. Don't throw me away. 2 worlds. 1 choice." Ryan's finger tightened on the trigger. And then he made it. The cave erupted. Ryan fired, not at Torres, not at Mac. At the lanterns above his father. Bullets shattered glass, plunging the cave into darkness. Chaos. Shouts. Blind gunfire. Ryan grabbed Mac by the vest, dragging him down as bullets sparked off the walls. "Move," he shouted. Torres cursed, firing into the dark. "Contact rear. Don't let him slip." But it was too late. By the time the squad regrouped, Ryan's father was gone, vanished into the tunnels like smoke. Torres rounded on Ryan, fury incandescent. "What the fuck was that? You had him, dead to rights." Ryan's chest heaved. He slipped. I lost him in the dark." "Bullshit." Mac spat. His face was pale, eyes wild. "You let him go. You." "Enough." Torres barked. He jabbed a finger at Ryan, voice like thunder. "You're done. I don't give a damn what your story is. You're out. You're under arrest until command decides what to do with you." The squad stared, stunned. Mac looked at Ryan like he was already dead. Ryan lowered his rifle slowly. The weight of his father's knife in his pocket was unbearable. Torres shoved him toward the exit. "Move." Back at base, Ryan was stripped of his weapon, confined to a tent under guard. Officially, it was detainment pending review. Unofficially, he was a traitor in the eyes of every man he'd fought beside. Torres didn't visit. Mac didn't either. Only the shadows kept him company. That night, a note appeared under the flap of his tent. No one saw who left it. It was scrawled in hurried ink, barely legible. "The truth isn't in their files. It's in the hills. You know where to find me. Father." Ryan sat in the dark, the note trembling in his hand. He thought of Torres, his fury. Mac, his betrayal. The squad, their silence. And he thought of the scar, the eyes that mirrored his own. He was out of time. Out of choices. The next move would define everything, his loyalty, his blood, his soul. He folded the note, slid it into his pocket beside the knife, and stared into the dark. The war outside was nothing compared to the one inside him. And it wasn't over. Not yet. The desert wind howled outside, carrying the scent of smoke and blood. Somewhere out there his father waited. Somewhere out there his squad sharpened their knives. And Ryan Keller sat in the middle, a soldier torn in two, knowing that whichever side he chose, the other would never stop hunting him. The end.